Tonight, I will simply going through a few aspects, historical aspect of his life, and maybe a little bit on the teaching. So we start from birth and we go up to parinirvana. Parinirvana is a term that is designated to be known as the passing away of the Shakyamuni Buddha. This term is a Sanskrit term. Pari means complete, final passage to nirvana. To nirvana means the end of all defilements. So I will go to our next slide. On this one, I would like to show you the place where Buddha was born. It is in the town called Lumbini. Lumbini today is located in Nepal, which is close to the border between India and Nepal. And it's about 100 kilometers north of Benares. The Buddha is known as Siddhartha Gautama. Gautama is his family name. Siddhartha means the one who achieves his goals. And his father is the king Suddhodana, king of Kapilavastu. And his mother, Maya, princess of the Koliya. The Buddha's mother died shortly after he was born. And he was brought up by his aunt Mahaprajapati. And he was married at 16 years old to a younger bride whose name is Yasodhara. And she gave birth to a boy who was called Rahula. Siddhartha is understood to have been a well-educated young man and to have enjoyed his privileged life in the kingdom of Kapilavastu. We go to the next slide. Siddhartha's father, Suddhodana, wanted his son to become the political ruler, which was predicted at his birth. So the king did everything to protect his son from any religious aspirations by giving him a life of pleasure and privilege, and by preventing him from seeing the harsher side of reality. But Suddhodana's plan eventually failed because Siddhartha managed to explore his society. He went out of the palace and was profoundly disturbed by finding about old age, sickness, and death. He was also fascinated by the sight of religious people seeking answers to life questions, to life suffering. So eventually, Siddhartha decided to leave home on his own, and he slipped away in the dead of the night. In the silence of the night, as I wrote, Prince Siddhartha mounted Kantaka, his horse, accompanied by Chana. He left the palace and the city of Kapilavastu. At the age of 29, on the day of his wife giving birth to his only son Rahula, Siddhartha discreetly left the palace, started a new journey to dedicate himself to the noble task of finding a remedy for life suffering. He became what we call a religious wanderer. So Siddhartha is moving south. He went up to the neighboring kingdom of Magadha, which is Bihar nowadays. And he was first described as training with a succession of meditation teachers, including Master Alarakalama and Udaka Ramaputta. But it was said that he was not entirely satisfied with what he learned. So he thanked his teachers and left. And this time he was determined to find the ultimate truth by his own wisdom and effort. So he is moving south to the kingdom of Magadha, as given on this map that shows you Magadha is on the right bottom of the picture. And he has found a spot near the pleasant village of Uruvela, near to Bodh Gaya. You can see on the map. And there he met the Kodana brothers, and he started practicing asceticism wholeheartedly. But at one point in time, he collapsed, and he suddenly realized that all he was doing was risking his life. And he accepted a small, a bowl of milk rice given to him by the young woman named Sujata. And from that day, he gave up asceticism. And then he recovered his strength. He moved near to the river Niranjana, and he started settle under a tree, which becomes what they call a Bodhi tree. And after 49 days of intensive practice, he attained enlightenment. He became what we call an awakened person, or a Buddha. Buddha means the person who is awakened. So he stayed there for several weeks. And finally, he decided to communicate his experience to other people. So he walked to Saknath, you can see on the map, not far from Varanasi, to find his former companions. And in the next slide, we have a temple called Mahabodhi Temple in Bodh Gaya, which is the mark, the benchmark of the spot where the Buddha achieved enlightenment. So he found the former companions, and he took care to explain his insight to them. And he told the Kodana brothers, "Dear friends, I have seen deeply that nothing can be by itself alone, that everything has to interbe with everything else. I have seen that all beings are endowed with the nature of awakening." So we all have the Buddha nature within us. At first, the 5 monks doubted his works and began to trust him and wanted to hear his teaching. And so the Buddha gave his first teaching to the 5 monks at Deer Park, Saknath today. The next slide. So the first Dharma talk is summarized in a text that I already sent you a few days ago, which is called Dhammasaka Pavatana Sutta, the discourse on turning the wheel of the Dharma, the discourse on turning the wheel of the teaching. And the 5 ascetics became his first 5 disciples. In the text I sent you, I summarized the 3 aspects of the first Dharma talk. I can still explain that here again. The first is the teaching of the middle way. The Buddha wanted his 5 friends to be free from the idea that austerity is the only correct practice, because he had learned by himself that if you destroy your health, you have no energy left to realize the path. And the other extreme to be avoided, he said, is indulgence in sense pleasures, being possessed by sexual desire, running after fame, eating immoderately, sleeping too much, or chasing after possessions. The second point is the teaching of the 4 Noble Truths. This is the foundation of Buddhism. This is really the pillar. The whole life of the Buddha is teaching about the existence of suffering, the cause leading to suffering, and also the cessation of suffering and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And the way is presented as the 8 noble paths that Andre already explained to us several months ago. And this is the first talk. But at the end of his life, he gave also another talk, which is exactly the same talk, to a monk named Subhada, who came to visit him and asked him to give a teaching before his passing away. So first Dharma talk and last Dharma talk is about the 4 Noble Truths. The third point is engagement in the world, which is the Buddha suggests that we should not escape from life, but we have to relate to ourselves and to the people. We relate to the people via the Noble Eightfold Path. We have to communicate with the world, with each other. We have to earn our living, but we can do that using the practice of the 8 Noble Paths, in which the right mindfulness is also an essential part of the practice. And Marie-Joëlle has given us tonight a taste of the sutra on conscious breathing. And this is the main practice of Buddhism. Everything we do, everything we go, everything we think, we should be aware of what we are doing, what we are thinking, what we are saying. And the only way to be able to be linking with this awareness is through conscious breathing. So the practice is very, very essential. And in the end, after teaching for 45 years, the Buddha, in closing to his 80th year of his life, he went to a town called Kusinagara, which is Pradesh nowadays, and he started preparing. He's passing away. And he told Ananda, "Go, Ananda, prepare for me a couch between the twin salad trees. With the head facing northward, I am very tired and I would like to lie down." So you can see the moving scene transpired when the Buddha sought out the comfort on that couch. Flowers suddenly bloomed on the twin salad trees, although it definitely was not the blossoming season. The salad tree's flowers began then to fall from above upon the Buddha's body. Out of reverence for the passing away of an enlightened being, monks and nuns knelt down in silence as it was the saddest day of their lives. So at this point, I would like to invite the bell once, so we can all bring our thought to the Buddha last day. So in finishing slowly, I show you here a pillar called Ashoka pillar site. Ashoka is an emperor who reigned over India, over almost 90% of the India we know today, and which is called the Ashoka Empire. And Buddhism was the nation religion at that time. And Ashoka, who is called the emperor, has built and erected something like 84,000 stupa, pillars, all around across India. And some of them still not destroyed totally today. You can see on the picture on the left. And on the right is a modern stupa that was built recently. This stupa, I think, is in Bodh Gaya. And the last one, to show you the account of the Buddhist followers around the world. And this I borrow from a report sponsored by the World Bank. As you can see, most of the Buddhist followers are located in Asia and in the Pacific Asia, 481 million. And we were set to rank 5th after the 4 other great religions. And as it said here, only 0.005% visit the sacred Buddhist site of South Asia. So we hope one day our Sangha, we can form a group and go to do a pilgrimage on the Buddha footstep. And I'm bowing out slowly and showing you now the list of reference. One of the books I would like you to acquire is a book, Old Path, White Clouds, written by Thầy, giving a complete account of the Buddha's life in a very romantic and poetic way. When I first received it, I read it like within 2 days. I couldn't stop. So voila, I'm bowing out, and I will invite the bell once more. And with a deep bow to your listening,